Alright, so hello everyone and welcome back to the second episode of the Total Fall of the Samurai campaign as the United States for Total War Shogun 2 Fall of the Samurai. During the end turn sequence we can see that the treacherous Toyoka have declared war upon us, and it seems that they are being helped by the Tatsuno, Sasayama and Tottori. We haven't actually encountered this faction yet, but they will be helped by none of their allies. Thank God. However, we probably will be declaring war upon them, upon some of them here pretty shortly. It's quite ironic that I just took the province that I was sieging in the last episode, the end of the last episode. Nation joins your enemy, Sasayama. Yes. Our assassin agent detected. Development level increased. Great. Setting our provinces. Let's make them technology, civil. Let's make them military. Of course, these guys are at war with us, and what we will do is just a cheeky little attack right here. However, we are gonna continue the siege and bring forth some good reinforcements right here. Can these guys actually reach them? No, they can't. So if we now attack, we can see that we're gonna be helped. However, I am gonna continue this siege. Almost auto-resolved that. That would have been great. And we are in fact going to strike this army right here with the force that is stationed here. Can we reach them? Yes, we can. And because we are at war, that's going to be great. Nation encountered. We have encountered a whole bunch of nations right here, probably because of our little development. So we will probably try and get a few trade agreements. That is, they demand 300 for that. Probably not. Probably not. Have you encountered the British? That would be quite cool. Okay, so managed to get that trade deal done. And no British yet, which is unfortunate. That would be quite beneficial for these Western powers to work together. In fact, I imagine that would be quite a good co-op campaign at some point in the future. With someone, hopefully. Let's try the Tottori. And, yep. So some trade agreements went through, some didn't. Not gonna bother paying anyone anything. We are making a lot more money right now. We are about to finish the infrastructure. Then we will go to arms science, which seems like a good idea. Then, or maybe even to the military cadet school right away. But the arms science does seem like a much better investment at this point. Army engineering training, let's go for... might want to go for officer training, because it will allow us to get veteran infantry. However, a military hospital might be quite beneficial right now, because it does give us cheaper units. Do we have any other... we have a tavern here. Military barracks. Not quite. Cadet school, military barracks. Okay. I see. So we're probably gonna go for the hospital. Because we don't actually need the veterans at this point. Because the enemy units are quite weak at this point in the campaign. At least it would seem that way. Tango Port, for some reason, is having a tad bit of a rebellion right now. Because I pulled out... didn't pull out any significant. Maybe because we are at war. That's probably it. Probably also due to the development level. Let's just pop in a US militia just to tame them a little bit. These guys are okay. How happy are they? +2. So we can take these guys out. March them here. Take the actually useful troops out. Stack them, just in case. I'm also gonna recruit a US militia there and put them into Tango Port, that tiny force there. It seems overall our nation, or our colony here, might actually look into disbanding these militia are right here. Because +4... Yeah, that's not gonna work. Where do we disband? We can disband them here, so let's start by disbanding just a few, just to get the money rolling in. And yeah, so Tamba Town will be taken shortly. However, before that, can we actually like can assassinate someone? Let's actually, we don't have any money because assassinations cost money in this game, strangely enough. But we will go and attack this army right here, which will be okay. That didn't work out. How angry are you? -5. But if we actually manage to take Dejima Town, might want to retreat a tiny bit. Let's just check. Are we at war with these guys? No, we are not. Great. So, maybe if we could stop this training and just train a few militia here, exempt them from taxes. Yeah, that's gonna work out nicely. And just start sieging this Tajima town thing. We're gonna see how this works out. We're gonna continue the siege. If it turns out terribly, I'm just gonna run away. However, I think in the next end turn sequence, we're gonna see a lot of battles, more specifically for Tamba Town, Tajima Town. Lots of towns getting battles around them. And the army retreats, which that's quite a big shame because I really wanted an open field battle. But yeah, so these guys are gonna go and reinforce here. Actually, what we might do is just reinforce this side because we don't have many armies right here. Let's just get some volunteers going. And these guys are angry with me a little bit. Let's maybe actually, instead of disbanding them, let's just send these militia somewhere in the general direction. Let's try one more time for the trade agreement with the Matsudaira, something like that. Nope. Okay. By the way, we are a moderate power, which is a shame. However, during this end turn sequence, our power is going to multiply. It's going to gain greater substance, whatever, something, words in English that make sense, right? Of course. #linguist. Okay, so over the end turn sequence, see the French doing a bunch of things, which is always a nice sight. However, we haven't encountered them yet, which is strange because we just saw them, but I suppose we do actually have to see their province. I wonder how the French do in this campaign. I haven't played further, or haven't played far enough to actually see how the Western AI does. Okay, here we go. This is a battle that we were looking forward to, so let's quick save just in case, and let's get to it. Okay, so as you probably could have seen from the battle deployment or the battle initiation screen, I do actually have a few new troops that we haven't actually seen yet. We have the recruits here and the conscript infantry, which are essentially Japanese troops that have either volunteered or have been recruited or conscripted into the Western armies. And I think all the Western armies have the ability to recruit these units. You can see the general of the enemy here somewhere. And since we are in the defense, the enemy is going to be coming towards us. We can also see a whole bunch of clan line infantry and also some spear levy, which is going to be the real icing on the cake. However, since again it's an open fields battle, however there's a small river, or well, not a river, a small lake-ish thing in the middle of the map, so the enemy will be funneled into our line of fire, which is going to be magnificent, I can tell you that much. However, what we might want to do is actually increase the length of our... actually, let's not do that. We'll see how the battle develops, and then actually see what we might want to do. I'm really worried that the that the enemy will try and flank our troops with the... Can these guys form square? I'm not entirely sure if they can, but I guess they can. And here we go. First... Oh, that's pretty loud. First battle, first skirmish of the fight, and we can see that we have done some terrible damage to their units already. They're just marching forward, and it seems like these guys have not initiated combat yet, which is good. We do want our units on the right flank to fully smash the resistance of these clan and line infantry, which have no chevrons, no upgrades at all, and then hopefully engage with our worst troops. However, it seems that all three of them will be having quite a nice fight with this single line infantry division, and we just killed their general, so this is a magnificent victory. We can already see that we will completely annihilate the opponent. So far, these guys haven't seen much action from what I can, of course, tell you, from what I can see, but they're not doing terribly. Actually, quite surprising. They're doing okay. The damage is not the best, but it's better than nothing. I can tell that much. We have triumphed, apparently, the announcer says. However, the battle is not yet won. We will shift this flank, and as you can see, the enemy cavalry is doing something. This is their second general. I am suspecting the enemy, the AI, seems to like to produce a lot of general bodyguards, or just have a lot of generals standing around for some reason. And this envelopment is not going to do much. It seems, at least this unit won't. But I guess that's enough. Yeah, we collectively dismantled the resistance of the opponents, and we will now continue to just shoot them into oblivion. The second general is dead. That's great music to my ears, and we can end the battle safe and sound in a decisive victory. So that was obviously a brilliant battle. We again lost about 10% of their losses. They have 0 remaining troops, and we have officially taken Tajima Town, which will serve as a great counterweight to the opponents that we are currently facing. And it was quite foolish of that clan to attack us, because we absolutely decimated them. I don't know why they decided to attack us. And actually that was the front that I was most worried about, because that's where most of our damaged and sort of native, mounting and rest, and native troops were stationed. However, it seems that we have dismantled them quite easily. These guys are okay, they are all okay, so that's great. These guys will obviously now take a turn to replenish. It seems that our recruits got quite a few experience points from that, which is strange. They only killed like 3 people, but I will take it. And we have destroyed... Well, that's not ours. We have destroyed the Toyoka. Wonder where Toyoma was. These guys, maybe? Don't know. Don't really know. So these guys have some mounting unrest. That's okay. That's completely fine. We'll just bring these guys here. Not quite. Okay. Well, that's actually quite annoying. But I suppose it's alright. This means that we can bring some volunteers down here again, just to strengthen this army and the potential and the obvious southern thrust towards Tamba, and yeah, so sort of a relief to this army, which is now facing off against well, 1 full stack, some garrison units, which are not going to be any trouble at all, but some Yarikachi and some Matchlakachi, which do actually have a good ranged, which have good range basically. So let's just upgrade a bunch of stuff in the towns that we have recently acquired. And that's going to be that. Let's make that a city, or what is it? A town, whatever. Actually, it says it is a town, but it has to be upgraded to a town, which is quite ironic, if you ask me. So we can Defending samurai retainers, levy garrison infantry. That's not quite the samurai that I was expecting. We could also make some more cavalry, which wouldn't be terrible, because we only have one province that can make cavalry currently, and that's not enough. That's not suitable to our needs. So what we will do is put these guys here, which is okay, and the rest of them will march towards Tajima to potentially reinforce the city in case there is a devious attack upon it. So, but right now we might actually want to recruit a few more troops just to just march them east or south, whatever, however you want to call that direction. I want to recruit a few more men. I actually want to recruit some US regulars because they're quite good, and we will potentially have to use them to strike west some more against the devious Totori, and just the Totori for the time being, it seems. Also potentially against the Tatsuno, which have... are the Tatsuno... The Tatsuno, where are they? Here. Yeah, they have been allied previously to the guys that just attacked us, so they might prove to be enemies in the future, so we will want to do a preemptive strike, as it were. So let's recruit some US regulars and some US volunteers. Actually, let's go with the Zouaves infantry, because I want to see how they look. I think that's it for this turn. Let's check the diplomacy and let's see with our recent victories if anyone wants to trade with us. Nope. I like how you don't even have to read the text, and just by the sound you know if it succeeded or didn't.
I'm sure.
Yeah, offers and sirens. Okay, but this time we didn't get any sort of noise, any music to signify. Whatever, doesn't matter. We will be having some nice income. Let's just check if these guys are still unhappy. Yes, they are. That's quite unfortunate, but that's just life. These guys are happy. What if we take out the... Actually, let's not take out the militia just yet, because there seems to be a Totori fleet heading towards it, and we will want to take it out at some point. I'm mostly focusing on the western portion, because I do want to have a very strong base of operations before we strike east. However, I'm well aware of the fact that our eastern side is not as protected, so let's just march this line infantry just in case. And let's put our general in there just in case. We can already see that the enemy is planning some sick moves on us, I suppose. Could also get a foreign veteran, which in our case would probably be a Japanese or British guy, but doesn't matter. So that's good for this turn. Let's end the turn. Let's see what else we can do. Nothing much seems to be really opposing us at this point. Oh, military alliance from the Sioux. Well, since we plan on taking everyone out, I don't think a military alliance is going to be very beneficial to us. However, those guys do seem quite strong. Maybe I should have taken it. But, nah, let's not bother with it. We will be taking all of the enemies out at some point, so might as well just not bother with it at this point. Maybe later on, maybe with the British or the French we will ally, but it seems that the Sasayama are heading to attack us, which is brilliant. This is just what we wanted, an open conflict. Let's quick save and let's take this to the battlefield. So as per usual, I decided to go for the straight line of fire, which will hopefully completely annihilate any opposition laid in our path. However, what I'm sort of worried about is the enemy cavalry, because our volunteer riders, not raiders, but riders, the southern looking guys, are actually quite weak compared to the opposing cavalry. Also, our reinforcing army seems to be coming from the enemy's flank, which isn't a great position for them. So I think what I might do is, for the time being, I'll stand them just over here. They're mostly made out of Japanese, let's see, Japanese recruits, some volunteers, and some US volunteers, all of one unit. So what I think I'm going to do is just... also, I'm going to try with my regular infantry, or just my whole line, to not use Neil Fire and Fire Rank ability for the first time. Usually I do use them, or from the battles that I've played I've used them, but I want to see what the what not using them actually does. I will shift my cavalry at least 2 units to this flank, 2 units to this flank, and a single unit to this flank, because I think splitting them up will be a little bit more advantageous than just having them in a sort of a big bulk, because of course they're sort of what do you call it, ranged. They're ranged cavalry, and they will shoot each other in the back, so that's not very advantageous. As for all these volunteers and recruits, I'll stand them here and we'll see what happens. It's quite a formidable force to have on the flank of the enemy. However, the way the Shogun 2 AI works, I'm not entirely sure if all the Total War games have this feature, let's call it. But the enemy army will usually point in the direction of the larger force of your army, so sort of the average direction, and our average direction is this massive Napoleonic line that we have stationed here, obviously. So that might work. We can already see that the enemy Yariki, which is an anti-cavalry cavalry, they're a lancer cavalry, they're already going for our flanks. So what I'm hoping for is to stand behind our line with the let's toggle melee mode just so they don't let's actually not, just so they don't shoot into the backs of our men. And as I predicted, it seems that the enemy is completely ignoring our regular advance, or the advance of our troops, and as we can immediately see, the enemy is engaging our flank. I should have put him to square sooner, but I got obviously carried away by looking at the flanking force for some reason. But they immediately took terrible losses, let's call it, and let's at least smash them with our other infantry. But they already broken, and I should also toggle guard mode to all our troops when I'm at it. Where is it? In every single, there is some guard mode. Every single Total War game, it's different layouts. I'm not entirely sure. This means that the other advancing cavalry unit will get some good. Let's halt. Okay, from square. Yes, good. Okay, so we toggled square just in time. Formed square, toggled square, whatever you want to say. Just in time. The flanking force is going to be a little useless, I'm afraid. But with the square formation here, and I think we can engage, fire it well. With the square formation being toggled, I think that the enemy should be okay with dying, because they didn't do a damn thing. I'm not entirely sure what the enemy plan is here, but they seem to be sending their cavalry forces one at a time, and also their infantry forces. This is not a brilliant strategy by the opponent, but it just might work to their advantage. We'll just have to see how they do. I want to see how the different tactic I'm going for here with the fire mode is working. They seem to be going for my cavalry, actually. But a few volleys and they should be done. They are just under 30 men strong, and our guys are both 60. However, the fact that there's such a good cavalry unit... Okay, but they're dead. Thankfully, they're dead. Okay, here comes the enemy infantry. Flanking force should start to... And let's just put them behind the enemy and see what happens, because I'm not entirely sure how the enemy will react to this. I haven't played Shogun that much, as you probably have taken note of by my very clumsy strategy. But this is a good position for the enemy because they're actually hidden behind a hill, so they might just come in and completely destroy us. However, they are volunteers as well, so they are gunpowder units. I'm not entirely sure what their plan here is. The flanking, or the sort of, whatever you want to call it, flanking force, the force that isn't in the main line is completely pointless at this point, so I don't know, we'll just have to see what they do. So they stand 26 men strong, these volunteers do, so that's an interesting tactic employed by the opponent. The opposing army seems to be going for sort of a banzai charge just to the middle of our line, and it's not going too well for them. Not at all, in fact, and these guys are tired, they haven't done a damn thing in this battle. So let's just use our cavalry as a flanking striking force. Where's the general? Does the maps? Okay, so the general should be somewhere around. Okay, so the enemy spear levy actually engaged our cavalry, which is not a bad plan. But here comes the enemy general in a massive blob, along with our other guys. So let's just do that. These guys broken the wavering, shaken, charging our main line, again wavering. Hopefully they break. They didn't break. Okay, so let's retreat. And this is very bad management for me, just leaving our volunteer riders like that. Their morale seems to be really bad, so I should take better care of them. Or we can see the enemy general actually charged into the middle of our line. And let's move our entire line like that. The covering or the flanking force like such, and we should be okay. Can we try and rally? Rally. Okay, that didn't work quite as well as I hoped it would. Regroup position. What does this mean? Okay, that's not. Whatever. I'm not entirely sure what these buttons do. Okay. I'm very inexperienced with this mod and in general. Okay, but our US light infantry seems to be breaking from the pressure of the enemy general. However, the enemy general should die quite soon because there's just a giant formation surrounding his position. I'm willing to sacrifice our US line infantry for such an endeavor, because it seems that we will actually annihilate the enemy in this manner. I should probably retreat them, and there's 6 of them left. So these 6 guys, I'm actually kind of surprised that they didn't rout. These guys must have some good morale. Look at all the blood covering them, man. These are like pure veterans. They only have 2 chevrons though, so that's a bit weird. Okay, so let's end the battle. It's a victory. Not entirely sure if I could have done something better, but yeah, it's a victory nonetheless. So that was a decisive victory. Unfortunately, the unit that had 6 line infantry left in it supposedly died, even though it quite didn't, but whatever. We lost about, let's say, 1/3 maybe of the total enemy losses, which is quite good. And they have a tiny force remaining, but I'm sure if any opposition comes, we will handily deal with it. However, I think this is where I'm shortly going to be leaving off, because this sort of shock and awe strategy is not exactly tiring, but I do think that we have quite a ways ahead in front of us, and it seems that we won't be able to just completely annihilate them in this episode. We won't be able to conquer the entire Japanese Isle in this episode, unfortunately, but what we might do is just attack the castle and auto-resolve the assault. We lost 10%, which is quite the acceptable loss. And can we actually march this army in there? We cannot. However, we can just do this, because we don't actually care that much about the Japanese conscript forces. And yeah, so thank you guys very much for watching, and see you next time.